Well, right on. Another episode of Talk Shit with Sid. Another episode with longtime friends, people we've known forever.
Oh, yeah.
Jon Ladd of Terminus Tees here in Atlanta. Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, dude, it gets more and more awesome with each day. I didn't even tell you this. You're actually first episode with multicam, you know?
Really?
So, yeah, we're switching around multiple cams now. We're going to be learning that and getting everything. Oh, yeah.
All the different cameras everywhere. This is great.
So I'm excited to have you here, excited to just be doing more shit in general and just keep on going. You've been one of the people that inspire me to keep going anyway, just because as much cool shit as you're always doing. So
Yeah, that means a lot.
Oh, thank you. But leveling up myself, I thought it was appropriate to have you on the episode as well.
That's great, man. You know, I wanted to say something. I was looking at our invoicing, and I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but I think official invoice number 1 in Terminus system was Legion X.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? Wow, that's so fucking cool, man. I knew that we were one of the first customers on it, and I've even told people that. Some people have been like, man, Terminus Tees, you've been pumping that name for a long time. And I was like, yeah, John, the guy that owns the company and started it, I don't really remember how we become friends and how I found the vein to use you guys, but I remember you were very grateful when we met and me to be a customer and just to be doing our first T-shirts. I can't even remember what design they were, but I've told people, I was like, I believe that Terminus has grown up to be such a good and awesome company and a larger company, and we were in their first handful of people. So to find out that we're number one, that's cool, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, you know, from being around the Masquerade, just hanging out when we were all younger, probably just going to shows and stuff like that, and then just kind of came together. I mean, I put advertisements everywhere I could, because just from knowing people from playing at venues and just I learned how to make our merchandise, you know, because I back in the day I started noticing people stop buying CDs as much, you know. We were in the last round of had some CDs on the table kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I started to double down, triple down, just started.
And that was your band 710 Split.
710 Split, yep. And started learning about merchandising, and I started noticing some of the bigger bands have a really cool look to it, trying to figure out how is that achieved, because it's just like anything.
I got my one color shirt here, and then you finally get an opportunity to go open up for somebody a little bigger, or even just another band in your peers that are doing a little better, and their merch is kicking your merch's ass.
That's right.
You start noticing that at a certain point.
That's right, and we figured out how to make awesome merch, and the next thing you know, I remember playing shows, and we would have 20 designs. We'd be opening for somebody. But I started watching the kids gravitate to our table. They were like, oh, they thought we were one of the headliners or something. I was like, no, we're playing in 30 minutes from now, you know. And so I don't know. I just wanted to always put out art that I wanted to put out, plus have a lot of variety for people, and kept learning how to make better and better merchandise. So then when the band was time to stop, I remember it was my mom. She was the one who was like, Mom, should I go back to finish my marketing degree? She was like, well, you kind of already intrinsically know that. And she was like, and you know how to make merchandise, so why don't you
put those two things together?
It's like my mom said, don't go to college.
Smart mom. For that to go down that road, you just jump into the fire. Don't go to school.
Well, yeah, my parents are always, I mean, even back in 710 Split days, I was like, hey, I'm going to stop going to college to do that full time. We did it for 6 years touring, and they were like, my mom and my dad were both like, just be the best punk rock band you can be, I guess. You know,
if you're gonna do it right. Yeah.
They were more wanting to see, I guess, us, all the kids, but particularly me in this case, just do it. Yeah, not just kind of.
Well, that's cool when you have those kind of parents, because me and Curtis and Clifford, my first band when we were 13, 14 coming up, our parents were the same thing. They didn't know what we were going to do, but they were very much. And they didn't get it, the punk rock thing. I'm sure your parents, different generation, didn't really either. But like I said, if you're going to do it right. I remember my father, one time I had a mohawk. I had a mohawk was so tall I couldn't even drive in the car. Had to side sideways. But I had to go to court for getting a ticket, 16 years old. And my dad telling me, you stand that fucking mohawk up as straight as it's ever been. Because he wanted me to cut it. And I was like, I ain't cutting it. I got a speeding ticket. It has nothing to do with my damn haircut. And he was like, all right, you're right. But when we go in there, that fucking mohawk better be as straight and stood up and perfect as it's ever been. And you better be as punk rock as you can be. Same notion.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they're like, you have to have an excellence in Mohawk.
So, your parents weren't scared ever with you going on the road with young guys and you get in a van and everybody heading out cross country. They didn't have any worries on that?
No, actually, my dad had to move positions in what he was doing in his career, and he became a contractor like halfway between Hawaii and Australia. And so they went out there, and it was kind of like, look, you just got to figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I could always come home from a bad tour and go back to rent-free mom and dad's house. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But they were saying none of that exists anymore.
They're not home.
Yeah, nowhere to go. And I'll tell you what, now, because of, I think I would attribute a lot of 710 splits, I guess, level of success, definitely Terminus's success, to having no option but making it happen. Right.
Well, that being hungry and no option, but will motivate the shit out of you.
Yeah. And then I think that the bands who tried to, they were afraid to like just leap off and do it, and then stay on the road, or what, got to also make money at home while I'm on the road. Try to figure that out. It's like you have to be like, I'm just gonna eat shit now and just live on floors. And
well, yeah, I feel bad for bands nowadays that are trying to do that because it's even harder now. I mean, back when you're talking about late '90s, early 2000s, when my band was touring, me and the whole band could buy 2 packs of cigarettes between all of us for the day. All right. 5 of us are going to split 2 packs of cigarettes. We're all going to eat McDonald's dollar menu, Wendy's dollar menu. That's as good as it gets. Don't even expect better than that. We could make it through by being like human cockroaches on the road. And then back home, some of us still lived with parents. And then I remember at the time, Curtis's rent was $250, $300.
Yeah.
You could go out on the road and make dog shit and pay your dues, whatever you want to call it, for a while back then, and still do it. Nowadays, you go on tour and come back home literally to nothing.
Literally to nothing. And this is what makes me feel like an old guy in that scene, is that I remember going to places and people would come to see us because of the style of punk band that we were on tour. We go to Canada and they'd be like, an American punk band's playing tonight. This is going to be awesome. And I'm like nowadays, no one would ever be that pumped about that at all. You know, we go to Kentucky. Actually, those shows in the middle of nowhere were always my favorite shows, by the way.
No, B-market shows are good because those kids don't get to see stuff and they're not quite as jaded.
Right. And they're just excited to be able to do something. And they're like, hey, I found your music and I learned all the songs this week. And they're singing along to every song. And you're like, I like, because we were coming to their town, they're like, now we're your fans. Like, that's the reason.
At the time, I didn't realize how valuable those B markets were and those kids. But then in hindsight, you look back and go, those were the better shows. Those people were, you were a little, at the moment, we didn't know any better. We were a little bummed to be playing those kind of markets. Right. But no, it's way more fun.
Yeah. And we play like a skate park in Warner Robins, Georgia. And 600 kids would just fill up half pipes watching.
Do you remember what skate? Did you play one in Warner Robins, or are you just saying that? Do you remember what it was called?
It's like, I remember every show, first of all. But then again, how would I know if I forgot them? That's kind of weird, you know.
Hey, good point.
But I think I remember every show. I don't remember details like what it was, all of them, what they were called.
Right. Only reason I say is because Warner Robins, when we were kids around that time, there was a skate park, Ramp and Roll.
Yep, that's it.
That was it. That place was awesome. I would have loved to have seen a band play there.
Oh, yeah.
I slammed in front of Tony Hawk there.
Really?
Yeah, he talked to me and a couple other friends during a demo to try and drop into the mega ramp or whatever. Just their big vert ramp.
Right.
Straight to our faces. But that's cool.
But we were having the kids like hand us our amps up to the top of that half pipe.
Oh shit!
Like literally, we were like having to have an Ampeg 810. Like
up the stairs and up.
Yeah, up literally a ramp. I mean,
the ramp.
Yeah, you had to go up a ladder.
Yeah.
So you had kids that were there to watch us be like, "Hey, will you help us hoist everything up here?" And then all the drummers were like, "We're sharing kids tonight."
Yeah, exactly. That is punk rock right there.
And then you would have almost nothing in front of the drummer. It would literally be like each person was just like right to the edge of the half pipe.
All right, we're going to start playing. Is there anybody out there that can actually skate this half pipe? Oh, no pros here today? Okay, y'all enjoy it out there on the flat ground. Here we go. This next ditty's out to Todd.
Yeah, and those places were always cool because the kids were so grateful in the place. They were just a skate park that was going to be open anyway, you know, with kids skating, and they come up with any cash money from the door.
Because y'all were doing like a pop punk band, did y'all play a considerable amount of skate parks and stuff?
Oh yeah,
was that your vein? That was definitely a market.
Like
that
some of the
did well for y'all?
I mean, they're all over the place. We play one night in the most amazing venue you've ever seen, and then the next night, show on literally a piece of plywood. And, in
there's the stage.
Backyard. Yeah, and the cops would come. We actually had like police helicopters hovering over some one show once, and they were telling us to disperse, and it was crazy. It was just like the kids were excited, but I think the police were excited too. Finally, we get to bust something up.
Right. We Legion X. We had a show. I say it was a show. Atlanta Motor Speedway was really close to where me and Curtis grew up, so we knew about the captured audience that shows up and camps out at these racetrack shows.
Right.
So we said, hey, let's go pull a trailer out to a camp spot there and bring out some generators, and let's put the band on, and let's play in front of the 10,000 people that are outside, a captured audience.
Yeah.
Let's cheat the system here and put on a concert.
Captured or trapped audience.
Yeah.
You got to listen to us.
We did so. It was pretty cool. About 1,000 people showed up. We were a brand new band, so we were really giddy to play that. And they enjoyed a band playing, but it was a metal band at a NASCAR event. Let's call it what it was. These people really, they just were drunk and they were happy to hear music. We got overzealous and said, okay, that went great. Let's do it again next year. Mm-hmm. So we brought the trailer out. We purchased 10 extra campsites, so people, for just a standing room area for our general admission standing room, so people weren't in other people's camp spots and stuff. Kind of promoted it and everything. It got out of hand. People started moshing. Rednecks, hey, mosh pit, that's a fight, right? Boom. They started fighting. Fires started going off like it was a fucking Pantera show at Ozfest. And then Henry County SWAT team showed up, come marching across the field. When you talk about those helicopters, I was like, yeah, I've been there. They showed up there, about 35 guys wide, marching through the field, dispersing everybody.
Yeah.
Well, we just wanted to play some metal, guys. No big deal.
Yeah, that's a great story, because how many people can be like, borderline caused a riot?
Well,
because I wanted to play music.
We put that on flyers.
Yeah.
In quotations, Atlanta Motor Speedway, Legion X is a riot risk.
That's great, man. You said Pantera. I got to see their last show up at was that Pantera? No, who was it that I saw? I think it was Pantera. No, it was no. It was
I think Pantera.
Riot Fest. Who played Riot Fest recently? It was a metal band that was the last show. I never seen them live.
Would it be Hell Yeah?
No, I'm talking huge metal band. I'm talking.
No, it'd be that vein. Well, Pantera's last show was in Japan, I think, because it was right before 9/11.
Who did I see? I was like, so I didn't grow up on all the metal scene. I called them Pantera. Whoever, I don't even know who I'm talking about. But
Slayer.
Slayer. That's what it was. Slayer. Yeah. And I feel like a dork because I don't know what I'm talking about. But talk about causing a scene, like the energy of like, I've never seen people so excited, and they're like, people are like. Metalheads are crying.
Well, that's Slayer's one of those bands, the same as it's metal in general. Pop punk has overzealous fans and everybody, but we've always said this, and me and Matt's have this conversation numerous times. You're never going to meet a fan of somebody, and you're going to like, who's your favorite artist? I'm like, Garth fucking Brooks. Who's your favorite? Michael Jackson. You just don't get that, but people scream Metallica. People scream Slayer.
Yeah.
People scream Pantera. And people cut Slayer into their arm and stuff. So that's just I think it comes from a place where metalheads have always been that is weird. You're a fucking weirdo, kid. You just cut this into your arm. Get away from me. But then they're like, don't treat me bad. Don't treat me like a weirdo. And everybody in metal's always pushed down. So they're like, no, fuck it. I'll scream it proud.
Yeah. And we were talking about, it's funny how like, if bands like, I don't know, that you could be, the Rolling Stones have been around forever. But it's like, yeah, people got into that. And it's like, back then, it was like, you had very few available options. Yeah,
there was 50 acts through the 60s and 70s that you can think of and like go to. There's tons of people that, artists like from Detroit and stuff that I talk about, and I've never heard of. And then I go look them up and say, oh, okay. This is who almost made it.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of those almost artists and people out there.
Yeah, and it was neat to see. Because I was thinking, like, I wonder if anybody's ever carved Rolling Stones into their arm, or you know, like you said, you know, there's something about a band that can, you know, cause that reaction, like Slayer did, and any of these bands.
Well, that's a good point you bring up, because I was talking with somebody not too long ago, and we were joking about Satanism and how anybody that I've ever known who's a legit Satanist or claims to be, they're not so much Slayer. They're more chill and like, no, let's listen to the White Album, or how about some Rolling Stones?
Yeah.
So there's the odd part about it to me is that the evil end of some things really isn't as Halloweeny as you think. So maybe there are people out there that have carved Rolling Stones into their arm, because that seems to be more of a kinship to the real vein of those folks than Mayhem or Venom. You know?
Yeah, evil hides.
Evil,
Evil doesn't like to usually really like
to reveal itself. Yeah, I
remember I did go to an independent Baptist school when I was younger, right? And it was like not Southern Baptist. This is like they're so extreme that the Southern Baptist convention's like,
yo, you motherfuckers are drinking Strychnine? What?
Yeah. And so I remember being in one of the classes, and they took my MXPX. The lady, she took my MXPX CD away, and she goes, I'm like, I think they're like based like a Christian band. You're not going to find anything bad in that CD that you want to find.
Right. What you're looking for is not there, lady.
And then she comes back later. She goes, I read their lyrics, and I guess they are of God, but I wish they didn't look so worldly. Because in the middle of the opening, there was one of the dudes, Mike Herrera, had like a mohawk, and I was like, probably the most evil acts ever committed was with a guy with a suit and tie that looks very similar to your pastor, you know.
Sometimes that's yeah.
And I was just always thought that evil, that's what I said, evil doesn't look like, it's not scary like that. No. It's a different kind of scary.
The stuff that truly has scared me through the years isn't, like, go back and use that, it's not Halloween. It's not spooky ooky, that kind of stuff. It comes in shadows and creeps in on you. That's dark. We got dark quick.
That sounds interesting to me, because it was a big conflict, because you have to think, growing up in that scene, I was surprised my mom and dad were so.
Did you graduate from the Christian school?
Oh, yeah.
Did you stay through it the whole time?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of grew up in that scene. I did go to public school a couple of years, you know, when my dad was trying to figure out his business stuff, you know.
Right.
Back and forth, you know. But it's just the politics and all that stuff is so ridiculous in there. It was like a lot of kids would show up at the Christian school because they got kicked out of the public school for fighting or whatever they got.
Right, as the last option almost.
So it's like, don't send your kids to Christian school if you want them to be in the straight and narrow, because I learned all the crazy stuff from those kids.
With going to Christian school, did you not get to learn science? How does that work?
You get to learn.
We're gonna do bacon. We're gonna do vinegar and baking soda, volcanoes, and that's it.
That's it. First of all, you get an extra period in your classrooms. You get 8 periods, and not 7 or so, whatever most kids do, because you have Bible class. So you're already 5% less educated in every other subject because you have Bible class in there.
Gotcha.
So that's a joke I say. I don't know, but that's what it is. And so you have that going on, and everything is. If anybody knows what apologetics are, you like this weird backtracking, explaining to basically make science work out or not. You know?
Oh, they're constantly covering their steps, if you will.
Yeah, instead of just saying I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never thought about that. You know, that part of what it would be like to go through Christian school all the way through in our time of going to school, because that was such a debate even for us at times. I mean, the debate of science and creationism.
Yeah.
So do they touch on that at all at school? I mean, how do y'all go through that? I mean, what is that even?
Well, first of all, most of the time.
Or dinosaurs. What is that? Do they tell you other Jesus horses? What?
There's so many different. That's where apologetics come in. It's like whoever can make the coolest sounding excuse.
Who can spin it the best?
Yeah, and it's instead of just again saying I don't know, that why can't they can't accept that maybe God could have created evolutionary as a creative option to let variety change.
Yeah.
You know, instead of like being like, no, it's got to, because they look at different steps and stuff. They're like, well, it can't be more than 4,000 years old. They come up with this thing. So I've got to make all this fit into this time frame instead of getting creative and coming up with different perspectives.
Right.
So, yeah, it's weird. You know, I think, you know, after high school, I didn't really, you know, I mean, I would never sit around and be like, I never angrily went atheist running away from all that.
Right.
You know, I was just like, it's not. I decided not to be around anything that required me to live in any kind of like fear.
Yeah, it kind of sucks with having a monkey on your back, guilt, just a life of shame and never good enough and regret. And
I just want creative thought.
Do you think that pushed you towards the punk rock lifestyle a little more? Maybe when you did get the freedoms to go your own route, do you think that helped push in that direction?
I think what made me push in that direction was going to, back in the day, the Pterodactyl Club, which was in Marietta. I don't know if you ever remember that or heard about that, but we had a club up there, and a lot of punk bands would play there and whatnot, and just all kind of hardcore bands and everything. And to see people come out being fans of something that, and back in the day, it was like you always had like a Christian version of Slayer. Mm-hmm. Here's Mortification. Let's listen to that. That's all, you know what I mean? Or Living Sacrifice or something like that. They would have these replicants.
Different options.
Yeah. That's like low calorie versions of the metal bands that were, you know.
I knew of some, but I didn't ever realize that. I never thought about it that it went that deep, because I haven't heard of any like real guttural death metal vein Christian or contemporary
what happened was
acts.
What happened was, for me, at least from my perspective, around 93, 94 or something, is a little before that actually, but Tooth and Nail Records came out, had Solid State, and that was the first time ever that something out of that, they weren't even like all Christian bands, they were just either a positive label or maybe a lot of Christian bands were on that label by default or something, but it wasn't like you got to be a church band to be on this label.
Right.
I learned that, I guess their lyrics make me think that that's a Christian band, or at least rooted in it or something. But they were authentic sounding. They didn't sound like the Replicant. They were actually, back in the day when we heard what it sounds to me more like real college rock emo bands were on that too. Like, not like the pop punk bands that just whine. I'm just talking about like Sunny Day Real Estate and even more underground bands like that. They had bands like that would go on tour with these big name bands, and they were getting real shows. MXPX was going on tour with like serious people back in the day, and they were getting, you know, so those kind of bands would come on tour with that one venue all the time. Back in the day, Squad 50 was a big band that would play there. Our band started technically in that scene over there. Spud Gun, which became War Against World, went to like Orchrist, and now it's in some deviation is Royal Thunder now.
Right.
So I remember all the people some of the people in Royal Thunder when they were just not those punk rock kids with mohawks and.
Everybody starts off somewhere with that. So back at that time, going back to when you were doing the 710 split stuff and y'all were doing your own merchandise and stuff, who was providing a lot of the artwork? Were you doing it? Was it a team effort from the whole band, or were you outsourcing it?
Outsourcing a little bit. I probably did about 90% of it.
So back then you were already getting proficient with Photoshop and trying to learn what it takes to, because I remember it took me just fiddling in the dark with because they go back. I'm from the country. I'm not from Atlanta proper.
Right.
I wasn't even able to get internet until I was well into my upper teens. So researching things and stuff was not the easiest in the world. So even understanding resolution and sending off images to print shop. I'm pretty sure the first 2 or 3 images we did with you guys, I basically tube rolled up pencil drawings and sent them to you guys, like, put it on the computer or whatever you do.
Oh yeah. But at the same time, I was doing some either similar kind of stuff. I mean, I was rigging it the best I could to make the files work, because I was learning myself. You know, you're learning all that stuff. And but then again, I go back and look at some of the prints we did back then, and of course I can say I'm proud of having merchandise like that. But now, if I were to reprint any of that stuff, I know it would look immaculate.
Yeah, you know exactly. You know how to capitalize on the things where you drop the ball, or just like you say, you're learning everything.
Or I'd reject my own art.
Yeah,
I'd be like, I'm not printing that. That's not too low resolution. I have to recreate it.
I remember at one point in time, I sent you a image. and this is when Legion was young, and it was now, like I said, my understandings of resolution didn't exist at that point in time, but the image was a woman who had been murdered in a bed, and it was from a movie, but somebody had shoved an upside down cross through her mouth, and she was laid out.
It's like impaled?
Impaled, and spread up. And I could tell you were like disgusted. I could tell through the email, and you were like, yeah, the resolution's too fucked on this. And I remember talking to Curtis, and I was like, it probably is. I don't think he wanted to print this either way.
Dude, we've printed the funniest stuff. You know what? Through the years, I mean, just learning about what should I not print. That sounds like a weird thing to ask, but I determined, just because of business reasons, not to print anything that starts leaning into pornography in any way. Reason is because the last thing I need is an employee being like, I was hired to print T-shirts, and today I had to print.
Now I'm a smut dealer.
Yeah. And I don't want to deal with like making an employee feel uncomfortable, making they didn't sign up for that side of it. If it's artistic, in any kind of way, that's slipped through some. It's weird because we print. Being in the South, we print for like some of these mega churches, and we print for, death metal bands. We print for everybody.
Right.
The only thing I would really reject is any kind of thing that for sure is used like hatefully. And I mean that even because if a Christian group wanted me to print like a Westboro Baptist Church style thing, like nope, I'm not going to print you. I don't want to be a part of that.
Not going to promote hate, and regardless of what side of the fence is coming on.
I don't want to give you a weapon to go.
Oh yeah, no,
I know what you're doing. But I found out 99% of people, even if they're a death metal band like that, they might have some gore stuff going on and all that, but it's fun and it's cool art and it's.
Well, I don't know anybody that's in that scene that doesn't get it. That it's just we're directors of our own little miniature movies here. We like horror, and that's what this is. The art direction's coming from a horror side of the spectrum. That's all it is. Nobody's really wanting to do that stuff. I mean, it's like people that get disgusted by GWAR, and it's like, are you listening to what they're saying? This is hilarious. It's not supposed to be gory, like for the sake of being gory. This is hilarious. I don't think anybody's confused.
It was real funny in a print shop. You have first of all, we have this. I mean, I'm really proud we've grown and have a full automated, like 8 presses going on up there, some digital presses going on. But it's funny, we get this bulk run from. It was a military clothing line, guys, that like to just say, and one of them, it said like fuck lettuce on it, but instead of the U, they put a steak. That was one of their shirts. There's just military dudes, but just gonna eat some protein, right? So happened that same week we took a big order in from PETA, and you have to realize when you're scheduling presses, they just kind of all flow through the presses at the right, whatever time this job's done, the next one up.
Right.
But when you're printing on 2 presses, you have a dryer down the middle, and so you kind of share a dryer with the other press. So I'm sitting there looking at the end of the press, and like, the fuck lettuce shirt's falling off this side while the PETA shirts are coming like side by side coming down.
The contrast of those, that's a picture moment.
Yeah, and then you'd have some, local Baptist church with like, a Legion X shirt coming down
some local death metal band over here on the side as well.
So it's just like it's funny when that happens, but you realize that those clients don't know each other and they're cool. I mean, like I'd have never had any client say I won't print with you because you print for a death
X
band
or whatever.
It's like that's not. Our job is to give people retail quality look. And that's my biggest goal. Is I wanted to make sure 710 Split back in the day. I was like, I wanted to look good, like we were talking about. Right. I learned how to do that, and I realized most people think merch is merch, so they go call a shirt and sign shop and get their shirts that are thick, scratchy T-shirts with rubbery ink and all that stuff. And dude, we printed stuff that I'm really proud, man. I'm really happy. We printed stuff that's kind of like Hot Topic Zoomies, even Urban Outfitters. And
I cannot say enough good things about the quality of Terminus shirts. They truly are the best shirt you ever have. How did you get to where your process just over time of refining that and getting the different inks? Where did you start going to conventions and things, or was it just online looking? Or
one really cool advantage we have is the one of the most popular ink manufacturers. It's called Wilflex Inks, but their home base. Their R&D department is in Kennesaw, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
And we're in Marietta. And I found that out way after I didn't know that going into the business. And so I was like, so I can literally come over a couple miles away from Marietta, and you'll show me all the weird, effects that no one's ever even ordered before, like weird sparkle prints and
right.
A really cool like glow in the day ink, not glow in the dark. It's so bright that like once it's charged up in the sun, like,
glow in the day.
Like right now in this room, the shirt would be glowing because even with this lighting right here,
just that phosphorescent.
If I was out in the sun and it charged up, actually we have this one cool ink that looks like black, like you put a black ink down and then it looks like white ink on the shirt in here. But if I walk outside, like almost like Zartan from G.I. Joe, like it would all the different colors would then turn on, like they activate in the sun.
Okay.
So it's not glowing; it's actually white ink, but outside
heat activated almost.
Yeah, well, it's UV activated.
Okay.
So I guess if you had a UV light shining on it, it would activate them as well. But yeah, you can walk outside and then the red, blue, pinks and stuff like that would start appearing.
Wow. So that is a nice feather in your cap to have an ace in the hole when those people are that close. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's like, but that always reminds me of like when you go to a restaurant and the dude's telling you about this amazing trout with almond and blah blah blah. And you're like, that sounds awesome, dude. I'll take a cheeseburger. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody ends up wanting like more of the straightforward, stuff because it's experimental and cool. But it's almost like you have to create the art to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You have to show because you have to actually show them because sometimes
like,
you're
maybe you have hidden images in your design that you wanted to appear once you're outside or something like that. You have to like think it through, like
or even push it on through and explain to them. 'Cause sometimes selling it without and just talking about it doesn't do it. Let me just go ahead and show you what I'm talking about here because this is so futuristic and like I said, you haven't seen this, nobody's asked for it. You can't. It's hard to wrap your head around. And collaboration, like I said, the inspiration I get from you and being a partner with you at different aspects through the years, the mindset that you've had on working together on things that we've done and other experimental partnerships I've seen you try to do with other folks. The collaboration at work and the way you work is awesome. I can't like I said, it's just where does that creativity come from?
I honestly, it goes back to me and my mom talk about this all the time. She was like when you were 3 years old that you would, first of all, I would only watch The Price is Right in commercials. That's it. Cartoons would come out and leave the room. Like she's watching her soap operas, but the minute they go to a commercial, I had to run in the room and be like locked in on the TV. Price is Right, come on, I'm on. That's like one big. I just in love with not just branding, but like how does that make people feel?
Yeah,
yeah. It's like I'm way more into understand how do you cause a reaction or effect. By the way, that goes back to those shows we were talking about too.
Yeah, that's
why I think I knew how to, do my best at it even promoting 710 Split back then, and how to do on stage where we brought a party, to the whole scene. We tried to make everybody have a great night by the end. We were more entertaining and goofing off. Mm-hmm. Very similar to like a little like Blink-182 and like NoFX do. Like half their shows are like comedy shows, right? Like really. So we were kind of not like them, but kind of we would be talking to the crowd more than anything.
Well, it's not that it's getting rid of the disconnect and just having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then so rolling back to where we are now, it's just I really try to think about how much value I can bring to just people and who's going to be there. What will make them be like, that's weird or funny or just something that was like, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
A good example, when we did the Shaky Knee stuff, a lot of people would think, let me just have a booth that I'm trying to promote my business and give away some business cards or something like that. But I'm like, we printed like 10,000 Terminus shirts. And we said, if you bought any of the band's merchandise here at Shaky Knees or a Shaky Knee shirt itself, come at our booth, show it to us, and you're going to get a free Terminus shirt.
That when I see that works great because I see so many Terminus shirts when I'm out at events, and it goes back good designs even for y'all's shirts. These people don't even know why they wear. It's a T-shirt company, but your designs are so cool. It's creating its own side brand. Yeah. Granted, you're giving them out. I'm sure you.
Yeah. I've never. The only way I would say we charge for a Terminus shirt is like we'll do giveaways online where I guess someone's paying shipping for it to go to their house, but there's a little money in shipping, and anybody would cover like the bag and people putting it together and shipping it out.
Right.
But I know that I'm investing in.
Well, the free shirt giveaway, that's one of the things that y'all guys do at Slaughter Q, and I know the bands love and appreciate that. They love the quality of shirts they're getting from you guys, but they love to be able to say, hey guys, here's our shirts, check it out. Hey, if you buy one, be sure you go to the Terminus tent and you show them this shirt because they're going to give you another one too.
Yep.
It's like I said, the cross promotion is just
I have to think. For me, I'm looking at what would they find value, another band or the company or whoever we're working with, what would really help them, what would help, pointing back at us. Like, we're going to point at you, because one of the best things you could ever do, I'm telling you right now, like, when bands would be like, hey, coming up next is one of my favorite bands ever. So you say you're an opening band, but the next guy's also an opening band, and the band before them validates the one about to come up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or even with the big bands being like, hey, thanks to like the no-namer who they know the name of that band. That's awesome. You know what I mean? Because we're all doing this together kind of thing. And it's like the band scene, besides breweries, is the next version that I've seen come up to where you can be a fan of lots of them. Right. And not feel like you're like not being brand loyal. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like breweries are very similar that way. You'll see people, there'll be like 5 different breweries are representing in one tap takeover. Yeah. And no one doing collaborative casks together. Well, why is that any different than a split EP back in the day? No, you're right when you put it like that. And I guess it's certain products lend themselves to that kind of collaboration more than others. I guess you could say, But finding the gold in that and being able to see an angle to collaborate to where what's good for the goose is good for the gander, as they say, and it points back at both people. And especially, if it's a situation where we're both handling the same $100 bill back and forth to, i.e., promote both of us. Yeah, I love that. Sure. That's my favorite one. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, is to create an experience where people walk away feeling great. I mean, people. It goes back to, I remember my mom always told me, she goes, people remember how they felt long after they remember what they paid, or anything like that. And I mean, we'll remember some of the best meals ever, but I couldn't tell you down to the penny what I paid for it. Right. I wouldn't tell you how much that one festival was really and all to get there, but I had to buy. I could tell you everything, all the crazy stuff I saw and did. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's always been one of those ones that you don't forget nostalgia. When you can create nostalgia for a group of something, there's gold in them their heels. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of those things I kind of like, even when I'm talking to people who usually wouldn't order t-shirts. Like, if you notice recently, there's lots of bars and whatnot, there's like restaurants and whatever, taking this brand aspect even higher level to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they're just really, it's not just like, just the restaurant down in my corner where I'm like, you want to go to this specific place because the people that are there you want to hang out with, maybe, or maybe just the way the place feels, just like a cool place to go. So I've been meeting with people that you would never think of could be an electric company. I was like, I want people to feel like they're a fan of your electric company. Right. Not just that you did the service that I paid you for. That you want people to walk away being like, those guys were awesome to work with. I'm really happy that I don't have to, they freed me from concern. Right. You know what I mean? And that's something that Jim Carrey said recently. He said, this is a little deep, but he said he realized that once he felt purposeful and everything, he said that when he realized that his purpose on earth was to free people from concern. And that's all it was. He said, as long as I'm doing that, that's what I want to do and do. And I love that, but so I'm like, I meet with these brand people that are like, man, we're just having a hard time with, like, how do you get loyalty? How do you get people coming back and all this kind of stuff? And I say, not to be biased, I don't care if it's a t-shirt or something else that you can do. Throw them a free drink if you're allowed to do that, But, hey, man, I really appreciate you coming and being a part of here, man. You're just slide them a beer or whatever. Give them a Terminus shirt. I'll bring by a bunch of Terminus shirts. You can use my product to say thank you to that person. Yeah. Or order a bunch of your own shirts and don't sell any of them. Make it go, literally, I'm not going to sell any of these because you're not a so-and-so bar. Might not. Maybe you don't want to be a clothing line. Maybe that you don't want to try to make money off that way. Because what's more valuable is to have that person be a fan wearing your product, going out and about, wearing it just in a normal rotation of shirts. Well, I've seen it before when we used to have our haunted house back in the day, and we, our cast members, we had 70 or so cast members, and then thousands of people would come through each year, and we sold them at cost to the public, and
our crew, we would give them to them at cost. That was we didn't sell any of them. You can't afford as a company to purchase hoodies and give away that many. But we made sure we were like, we're not going to sell these like that. We wanted, and it created a community of people wearing these hoodies almost like fucking Hell's Angels, right? Like a biker gang, and that brand, and then it just started rolling to more and more merchandise, and we never made tremendous amount of money off of it, but the community, like you're saying, the brand that you can come out of that, whenever it's not really what it is, right, but it's a new avenue to.
Yeah, and so what we do is when people, I know they are maybe nervous about that idea because that might be a big investment. Their marketing budget hadn't already thought of that. You know, like, okay, well, I didn't plan on that to just give away all this merchandise like this. I was like, well, we do. So can we just have a small place at your event? Mm-hmm. And the first 200 people, I'll give them a free Terminus shirt if they'll show up. But the first 200 people literally get a free Terminus shirt. You don't have to come up with the expense at all.
Right.
I'll give them something that makes them feel, wow, I got something of value. Mm-hmm. People will stand in line for a free t-shirt. I'm telling you right now.
Especially if the design's there.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah. I've seen people stand in line for dog shit designs, but you'll really get in line with the quality of like y'all's big chicken design.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. I've seen so many people wearing that, and I've had people want to buy mine.
Really?
They don't even know what it is, but they know the chicken and see that shirt. It's like, oh my God, laser chicken! Yeah. This is amazing. Where did you get that? And I started explaining, I'll give you $50 for it right now. And it's like,
crazy.
Nah, bro, nah.
Yeah, that's funny. It's funny. Most of the designs that I've came up with Terminus. Now, some of them I might have conceptually thought of, like the one where the big chicken's destroying Atlanta like Godzilla. Mm-hmm. That was from when I was a little kid. My grandmother bought at a craft store this wooden big chicken with these little wheels on it. I would stack all the G.I. Joes. First of all, I would play with like universe style stuff. Like He-Man would be in there with G.I. Joe. There was no.
Yeah, we're mixing them together.
This is like Ready Player One in my mind. And the big chicken would be like rolling into the Cobra base, and they're like, "Wait a minute!" Like almost like a Trojan horse, and then all the G.I. Joes go pouring out of it and fight. That was just or the big chicken would tear through the micro machines and just decimate them like Godzilla. That's where I came up with that. And I can't hand draw. Like I'm good at digital art, you know. But so I just was thinking, I'm gonna go all out with this. So I contacted Dan Mumford, if you know who he is. He does all the Black Dahlia murder.
I don't know by name, but I'm sure I've definitely seen that art.
Recently, like Marvel and stuff have been hiring to do like hand drawn like niche posters and stuff.
Oh, very
all
cool.
That stuff.
Yeah.
So back in the day, I called him, and it was a pretty steep price to get that guy to do it.
Yeah.
But he's from England. He's never seen Atlanta at all. I literally had to like tell him this building, then this building, then this building, the varsity down here. I had to like tell him where to plan them all out and which one was taller than the other one. So he was just like, I
don't have reference, right?
Yeah. And so he designed that. He took what I thought when I was a little kid. So a lot of my stuff comes from. That's
a cool story. I have to Curtis will get stoked on that because he loves that shirt, and he has it and he wears it all the damn time. And anybody those of you watching that are not from Atlanta know we're talking the big chicken. There's a Kentucky Fried Chicken in Kennesaw, which is about 15-20 minutes north of Atlanta proper. And it's 100-foot tall chicken. Yeah. That is.
It's actually a Marietta. It's on the corner of like the two main roads.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to go to one of the four quadrants of Marietta, you're going to go take a left, right, go straight past the big chicken. It is the landmark of when people are telling where to go.
Yeah, turn at the chicken.
Yeah, turn to the big chicken. And
how tall you think that thing is?
I don't know. It's like weird because when you're a little kid, you're like, that thing's like the size of the Empire State Building for sure.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I think we can scale that, man.
I think we can get on top of that chicken, bro.
Yeah, it's like maybe I'm bad at this, maybe 60, 70 feet.
Yeah, it's huge. For just to be a chicken a building they've turned into a chicken, it's fucking huge. Let's just put it.
Yeah, and really, but even before that, it was like a local Marietta chicken company way back in the day that was it. And
so the chicken was there before it was the restaurant.
Yeah, the Kentucky Fried Chicken was looking to open a new location. Yeah, and they were like, how about that big chicken? They're like, it's on brand, I guess.
There's a dead on brand for that. I didn't realize that. I always thought that was why it was there.
Yeah, no, it was there before. From my understanding, it was before KFC came in, and then they recently refurbished it even. Now he looks even crazier.
So I know
he looks like he's on meth, man. His eyes are like all
cuckoo eyes
because he's motorized his beak. He's always like chomping, and his eyes are always wacky.
So I know that y'all with y'all's custom Terminus shirts, on brand shirts, y'all have done little nods and stuff to the Atlanta community, and I know y'all even got a cease and desist from Claremont Lounge on your Terminus Tees shirt.
And that was a good story though, because all of our shirts like that was never to be like, let's make money off. I was like, hey, first of all, they're all we. It's funny, in our point of sale system when we were first doing that, we couldn't figure out how to give a $0 this old system. It wouldn't let us give like a free
make
shirt
one a $0.
I was like, I have to have a penny in there, so we did our penny tea special. So if I've made anything, it cost a penny for the shirt, then like $4.99 for shipping or something. So $5 each out the door,
right?
And I showed her that. I even sent her that because I wanted them to be in good standing. It was never meant.
Right.
I should have definitely have asked.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe in my mind I was like, I like it when people find out that we've done that without that, because there's that level of like, I don't know if you've ever had like a band, like even on YouTube now, when I see kids like doing guitar tablature to like my old songs and stuff like that. He didn't email me and ask or even say, hey, I'm doing this. I just, when they came, the algorithm said, hey, did you know this happened? I'm like, what the heck? It's like, it makes you feel great.
Right. It's a nice tip to that. It's nice homage.
Yeah. So they were like, oh, you can't do all that. And I explained to them, they're like, okay, well, maybe down the line we'll do
another cross or something where we sign off on it or something like that.
But then my marketing man goes crazy. I was like, you know what I want to do is get them to open an actual bar with me. Call it Terminus Tees. And it'd be like an old school go-go club mixed with like punk rock. So you have like no nudity, because in Marietta I can't make that.
You're like me though. Your mind goes from 1 to 100 in 2 seconds.
Yeah, like the Suicide Girls dancing on boxes with like those emo nights that you guys do at the masquerade stuff. You know what I mean? Where all the kids are just happy and singing.
Yeah, you're happy and crying.
You create that as much as you can for people and just do nostalgia. It's literally a bar of nostalgia. I don't want to call it Terminus Tees, and really have the people who know actually what they're doing with those things put it together for me, but me fund it all.
Right.
That's in my mind.
It sounds amazing. I've wanted to do a topless bar forever, but I wanted to do the titty twister from Dusk Till Dawn.
That'd be awesome.
Why has no one actually brought that to life? Does that not seem like the funnest bar ever?
As long as it stays on the first half of the movie. It doesn't go to the vampire side.
Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe that'd be a cool gimmick at midnight. It turns into a horror theme.
It does turn all vampy at me.
Awesome.
See,
people. So go back to what we were saying. People, it's about creating experience, right? And that's where I like me and you talk about that. I get little weird, stupid chills on that stuff because I'm like, someone will be blown away by that idea. Someone's gonna be, I gotta go there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's how I know what to do. Is I'm always thinking. I do my best to kind of like think, how do I make someone feel great with this? It's like,
well, you're curating experiences, and like I said, and trying to create nostalgia. You want those things that stick with people. With that, with that being said, have you ever went to like a dinner theater type of experience? You ever experienced any of that?
Yeah, I've done. I think so. Like I'd see like a play where you eat there. Yeah. I've been to whatever the Medieval Times is that.
Medieval Times. I was assassinated at Medieval Times.
Like lasers and horses.
Yeah. So I guess I did that, and then I've been to a drag bar and a meal and a show for that. But
I did, I went to Lips for.
Lips exactly. I've done that. But the experience of the Clue type deal, or for the murder scenario, and there was someone was telling me about. There was a ninja bar that they take you through tunnels and sit you, and then as you're eating, all of a sudden your waiters sneak up on you and out of thin air, this ninja's there with your food and shit at different times, and that's kind of the gimmick behind it. It's a ninja, and I was like, that sounds so simple yet so cool.
Yeah, just surprise attack you with food. It'd be perfect. I love that idea.
Come through windows.
Yeah, we got to play CBGB's before it shut down, and right around the corner on one of the back streets there was something called the Bacon Bar, And we were like, let's go in there. And that's even back then, people were smoking in New York, like bars. It was that long ago.
Right.
And like, you walked in, it wasn't just smoke. It was like the grease was sticking to your eyes, but they literally had just, like skillets looking things all over the bar. And they just were crisping bacon like crazy. And instead of like beer nuts or whatever, you just, as long as you're drinking, you're just grabbing strips of bacon.
Oh my God.
People literally had bacon hanging out of their beers and like.
That, holy shit, you just blew my brains out of my skull. A bacon bar, Matt? Why is there bacon all over the floor?
Why are my eyes sticking together? Seriously, you walk in here like, yeah.
Why does this bacon taste like that dude's dick? Well, ain't that the whole deal with the peanuts? Everybody's eating your peanuts, they go take a piss, and then they put their dick hands back on the peanuts. That's why you're not supposed to eat peanuts at the bar. Yep. You never heard that? Y'all been eating peanuts, ain't you?
Yeah.
Don't eat
I've done it. I've had some
no nut peanuts for me.
Wiener peanuts.
Wiener peanuts. That's what they're.
Since COVID.
Yeah.
But that same mindset is Slaughter Q for me. Anything we do, how can we put a bow on top?
Right.
That's kind of any collaborations that I do with people. I literally think of mine and your relationship and stuff. And like, what would John do? How would John make Slaughter Q and this work? Where's the angle that we can braid this together and be good for all of us here?
Right.
And yeah,
you know, it's funny because like before the COVID stuff, was 2019, I would have done. I think I did like 6 or 7 different marketing conferences where I go speak in front of crowds and stuff like that. Sometimes they're real small groups, sometimes pretty big one. I'm like, whoa, this is
all right.
Like a couple hundred people in one auditorium listening to what I had to say. And it was so interesting to hear, and a lot of them some of them come from a corporate background where they're going to hire like 17 people to do a commercial. And they're going to spend all that time for a 30-second commercial. And I'm just on stage being like, why not hire 17 kids in New York with their phone and a gimbal and get them to go see your customers and capture the stories of their restaurant or whatever they're doing with their product. Come back, let them edit together, and pay these kids to create stories, organic stories for you guys, because commercials don't work anymore.
Right.
You know? But stories do. So really what me and you were talking about is the creative top end of the story, because we're trying to get as many people to film themselves at the bacon bar eating bacon. I can't believe I went to this bar called the Bacon Bar, and they would put out, nowadays they would have put that on Instagram stories and then be like, I've got to go there, because me suggesting, like the band I suggested to you the other day through text, I was like, yo, I think you would like this band. That band's probably going to get more likely to be listened to because I told you to listen to that than you organically finding them right now.
Right.
So what people don't realize is, what I realize about the t-shirt scene is, a t-shirt is not a advertisement, like a walking billboard. It's a personal referral, because I'm wearing it on my body. If you're like, it's got to mean something, that someone's going to wear a t-shirt out.
I've never thought about that. You're exactly right. It's not an advertisement. It's a personal referral from and if you know this person and already appreciate their opinion, there you go.
Yeah, I had a guy who just finishes basements, right? And just like really nice built-in bars and basements, like really high-end, expensive kind of stuff. And he just wanted to get some worker shirts, left chest logo. And I'm like, oh, hold on a second. What if we went with like a tri-bone t-shirt like you would get from Gap? Because that's his kind of scene, Mm-hmm. And let me help you work on your logo a little bit. And we got it more of like a design. And so he would give this more, what would have been like a $4 or $5 cheap Hanes t-shirt or Gildan. He went with like a tri-blend, like a Next Level American Apparel tri-blend, and would give it to, I told him, I said, don't wear these out in the scene. When you're done with this $50,000 bar, whatever you're going to do in this people's basement, just give them a $10 tri-blend t-shirt saying thank you, for
doing business with you. Yeah.
What's going to happen is they're going to wear that out because it's a nicer t-shirt, and someone's going to be like, oh, what band is that, or whatever. Oh, that's the dude who did my basement.
No, it's not a band. Wait, your basement dude has this cool ass shirt?
Yeah.
What's he all about?
And that jolt right there is what sells everything. That's a basement guy. That's a whatever, like I didn't know. Okay, that's interesting. That's cool. And then if they're in the same category of person, you come over and see my bar one day. What's that guy's? The guy you were wearing the shirt the other day? He did this? Yeah. What's his number? Boom, boom, boom. He's called me back and said he's gotten more work from people wearing his shirts, people wondering what does that mean, versus any paid ads that he's been putting out there.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Because someone's saying, I gave this guy $50,000.
That's a big house. Yeah.
Yeah. And he made my whole downstairs a place I want to actually go be and hang out. And we have parties down there now. So he created that. I said, you've got to tell that story. Or set your customers up to tell that story for you.
Give them a reason to somebody's going to ask them to tell that story.
Exactly.
Basically, that's genius. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's the seeing the obvious behind the curtain. Sometimes it's very obvious sometimes, but sometimes you need that to pull the blinders off to see the full spectrum. I guess there's so many analogies and metaphors to say what it is, but a lot of times, good marketing and a good idea is right in front of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and it's as easy as, what do I want to do to sell these people? The answer can be with sometimes the childish answer. Just what do you want to achieve here? I want to sell him this. And it can come then. Well, how are we going to make sure he wants it? Make sure they need it. Force them to need it. Whatever it may be. But you can. How am I trying to say? You can overthink yourself and push yourself so far from a good marketing plan to something that's not going to work by following trends, by following what you've seen work for so long, forever, versus just simply saying, no, just get people to tell a story and put it in your stories for free instead of sponsoring ads to put them out and all.
And really the reason any of that works is because you're focusing on why you did what you did, not that you did what you did.
Good point. Exactly. Good point.
So there's in the market, the cliche thing in marketing now is you always hear people, it's all about the why. The why is the most important question of all time. Those kinds of things. And I think anybody, I don't care if a kid's about to go to school, he's about to do a trade for what he's going to do next in his life, be in a band, do the next promo for your company, whatever, where you're going to live next. If that's not the center of everything, then you're going to be lost in that path.
Yeah.
So one thing we do when we go into creative marketing, when we design our web content, all our weird skits and stuff we film and all that weird stuff, is why are we showing this right now? Like what is this? And it's okay for that answer to be because I like it.
Right.
Like I personally love that.
Because this makes me happy, and I think it's going to make other people happy.
And because they'll see the organicness of me having a good time, because people usually are drawn to that.
Yeah.
Not the overproduced, somebody made you do this. It's like you wanted that to sound that way. Now, the bridge of that song sounds weird to me, but I know that's what you want.
Yeah.
And people actually gravitate to that because it's unique.
Yeah.
Or it could be your logo, or it could be just anything.
Well, that's what the more I notice, people love to watch somebody doing something well, and they love to watch somebody genuinely stoked on what they're doing.
Right.
If you're really excited about something that I don't get, I'm more likely to even look into it because of your enthusiasm and how cool it makes you and how excited you are and how happy you are about it. It's like, well, that's grand. That's the push for the other thing. So,
well, that's the thing too, because I'm naturally a very passionate person, and could be, I can sell stuff, but I'm not really a salesman like that. I'm more of someone who would understand the person and figure out why this would work, why this works for them, why this shouldn't. I would tell somebody, don't go with that brand of t-shirt at all, because it's not going to achieve what you want. It could be landscapers who really just need something. The amount of landscapers, I said, go with heather gray shirts, because that's the least amount of dirt you're going to see, like left over on the shirt because of all that heather gray, the scratchy heather. Originally, the guy was like, yeah, but I personally like to wear, he might be a young guy, I like to wear like American Apparel shirts. I was like, dude, it's not going to stand up.
You're going to be back to me sooner, and you're not going to be as happy with the product that you get.
It's like, you need to be a Hanes beefy tee that's heather and something that me or you might not want to wear at all. But that doesn't serve why he's getting his merchandise.
Right.
He needs to deck out these workers.
Right.
So I'm very big on that.
Do you do a fair amount of landscape and stuff? Like, do y'all have the water wicking shirts? Are you doing a lot of those for guys?
Well, we have done a good bit of that. Like right now, more than anything, especially through COVID, is people wanting to elevate themselves as a brand. Again, the weirdest, coolest things you can think of. Like, it could be bars and stuff like that for sure, but it could be. There's this. I didn't know this. There's a reptilian pet shop, only like specialty reptiles. Up like near Roswell, Alpharetta area.
Yeah.
You got like a mega snake in there. You know, one that could like eat your dog. You know.
Right.
But every kind of reptile that like they specialize in that. You're not going to go in there and just find like something you see at Petco or something like that.
Right.
It's going to be specialized niche store for just reptiles, and all his merch is like more for fans of reptile stuff. So it's kind of sometimes his logo might just be like a small hit on it,
right?
But it's really about the specific
love of
kind
these types of
whatever dragon,
lizards and snakes and turtles.
So use the niche market on stuff right now, and people taking their brand and we had recently. By the way, if I ever name drop, I'm telling you out of like amazement. I'm like, dude, this is because we'll get off the phone. You have the weirdest, like, cool conversation with like some celebrity,
right?
And you'll be like, that was weird. Like, we just talked to Jason Momoa about printing a bunch of poetry on the front of a shirt from his friend that passed away, but he wants to take his friend's poetry book and starts putting out merch that just is his friend's.
That's his statements and yeah.
Aquaman wants to do that. Cool.
It is awesome when that kind of stuff. And that's how you know. Like I said, that's the confirmation that everything you're doing is heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
Anytime that I start getting down and Matt's like, man, we just keep going, we got to go. And about that time, something will come out of left field and be a great accomplishment or a great compliment from somebody that we look up to or really respect in the industry. And it's like, whew, thank God we needed that.
Yeah.
We needed that.
And I tell people when I do those, I know we're jumping all over the place, but I remember I was telling some people at one of the conferences, you remember when the Burger King would have that wake up with the king and like
the weird king face?
Like he'd literally be in the bed with you.
Yeah.
Like you wake up and you have a breakfast sandwich in bed with you, he's just smiling at you with a creepy mask. You remember that. Like that's a lot of old school marketing people like, that's the wrong thing to do. Nowadays you're like, we can't do that. Wait, hold on. What is that? We can't do that? Whatever's making you feel on edge might be the edge we're looking for, because you've got to find a way for people to be like that jolt I was telling you about. In marketing, if you don't find that jolt, you're boring.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's just there's no need. Like I don't even remember. You're the commercial that where you get up and go pee at, back in the day. You know what I mean?
I went and it's funny you bring that up. I've recently just been at the house at different times going down YouTube rabbit holes and fell into a early 90s hour-long blast of commercials.
Yeah.
I just clicked it for the hell of it and started watching. And the amount of nostalgia in commercials that you see and then good commercials that you remember. Do you remember, I can't remember what the product was, but it was a baby in a stroller. Dun, 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 and the baby's running around the house, and all of a sudden, boom, it hits the walls. It's on the ceiling. It's everywhere. And the guy, and it's a husband at home, and he's just like, how the fuck am I going to take care of this baby? Yeah. But that stuck with me my whole life. And I'm, dun, 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 and the baby's all over the place. I don't remember what it was, but I remember that advertisement, and that was probably 1991, 92.
Right.
And as soon as I seen it, it was like it was yesterday, the last time I had seen it. And so many other ads that were coming through there and movie ads for like the first Men in Black or whatever it was and stuff. Yeah. You don't know what it is that sticks with you or what that makes it, but it is that.
It was funny you saying 90s trailers for movies, they focused on not the why. And in other words, sometimes the why is unspoken. So in other words, you would watch a movie like In a World.
In a World, exactly.
Yeah,
that world.
They walk you through a top level hits on the plot, I guess, or whatever. Now it's all, if I don't make you feel tingles, it's like the Hans Zimmer music's playing and the visuals doing what it's doing, and you're just like, almost like,
No, I literally today just watched one of the newer trailers they just dropped again for the new King Kong Godzilla. Mm-hmm. I stood up like I was watching a boxing fight and was like, yeah! Because it made you feel something, like you said, and you're like, oh man! And so you're exactly right. It is more about the why than the that.
So the why, why are we going to do the trailer this way? And unfortunately, some trailers are like, I felt more emotion during the trailer than I did in the whole movie when I actually got to see it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or everybody's like, dude, I'm going to see that. Everybody turns their friend.
That's what I said about this trailer. As soon as I was like, man, I hope that does not let down.
And then something lets you down later. So it's like, it's interesting. It's like you let someone creative say, hey, I need people to feel on top of the world tingles while they watch this trailer. But why didn't you choose the right director to make the whole movie?
Yeah, who feel that way? Exactly. You should have had that person involved with the whole project, not just
let him do his own trailer at the end of the process, or or whatever. I don't know much about that scene, but I'm just saying
it can be that way.
Yeah, and it's just like what that's just weird to me that it's like having a band not letting the band choose the director of their video and the story they want to tell and the way they want that to feel. Mm-hmm. I remember back in the AFI. You remember that band AFI? But they were more like a punk band, hardcore punk band before they were like what most people know of them now.
Yeah.
But their whole video was basically, I think, Reservoir Dogs, a mixture of Reservoir Dogs and
I remember that video. Yeah.
And it just made me feel like gross, but good. It was cool, but
all my favorite videos were directed by the bands or a band or a member of the band. Mm. Anytime, I mean, there were some bigger ones in the mid '90s, some huge budget videos that were done by respectable directors in that scene. But like you just go all of Rob Zombie's stuff that he directed, it's just so unique. A lot of the Beastie Boys stuff early on. That's so just a fisheye lens cameras with them all jumping in and out of the frame. Yeah. Just jumping, take your turn, jump in, and then the other one jump back out. They work so cool. A bunch of 9 Inch Nails videos. There was a cool story. Trent Reznor was filming his own video one time and trying to get this shot using a balloon, just tying a camera to a balloon and send it up.
Yeah.
Pull it back down. Let's see if we got the shot. No, we didn't get it exactly right because it's just spinning on us,
Oh, yeah.
So you keep trying it. No, we'll get the shot. It's just trial and error on this type of thing. It's a quick shot. They accidentally lost it. And the camera takes off with all the other footage for this crazy-ass 9 Inch Nails video. It falls down. Somebody finds it and thought that it was a snuff film. Turned it into the police. All this shit.
That's crazy. Dude, I think we're about to see a massive creative takeover even more than ever because a couple reasons. Number one, first of all, I go back and look at some of our favorite stuff. Was like, okay, wasn't David Fincher or whatever did Seven and Fight Club and all that other director? Before that he was doing George Michael videos and all that kind of stuff. Michel Gondry was doing all those videos, and then he finally got all the movies he did after that. It's like people are proving themselves, and it's like I think a different way it's going to happen is now the equipment is so good. You know what I'm talking about?
And affordable too.
Yeah. So you're having somebody who is a creative person that just simply because of the rental of the equipment, funding, all the different reasons of making a movie or a band's video or anything of that stuff. Like I went on YouTube recently and I get, first of all, I like looking at bands live, or I'll get into a band quicker live or seeing a cool video than just listening to them.
Just finding them on Spotify.
I think it's because it ties you all into all your visual and everything. But young bands that are sound better than we ever sounded, that look better than we've ever looked.
Yeah.
And someone put together the editing and told a story with what they have, and it looks so good. And it's just like, man, that made me feel pretty. That band is awesome. Mm-hmm. That band Microwave. I saw their video for that. It's called Vomit, I think is the name of the song.
Yep.
I think it's just pieces of the Georgia they're filming or something. I'm trying to, but that video is incredible.
Yeah,
it makes me feel gross and good at the same time. It's a dirty South kind of vibe. That's what it feels like to me.
Right.
And they captured that.
There's a guy that I've recently started working with, and he's done a lot of stuff around here in the South. Video Raheem. He's done a lot of the Biters videos. He did a lot of the Mastodon videos.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
He does. So his quality of directing music videos for an affordable rate around this is just a step above, and it's the creativity that he's bringing out to the table that other cats just aren't seeing. They're just going through the motions of everything that's been happening for the last 20 years, and especially for, say, just a punk band or a metal band, anything in the rock genre. Let's take you to a giant empty warehouse.
Yeah.
Let's set up your gear in the middle of the floor. Let's put a couple flashing lights and let's film you a music video.
Yeah.
Please don't. I've seen that video too many times. Dude, just do the same video, but let's put you in a swamp.
Yeah.
You know, just anything different than what were you just the same old thing that you've seen.
Oh, yeah.
That's one thing I tell young bands. If you've seen more than 2 people do it, don't.
Oh.
I don't care what it is. It's just...
Remember the hardcore band or metalcore band, Despised Icon?
Yeah.
I think I saw one of their videos, and they're like, I guess they're from up north, way up north, and they're like in the snow wearing parkas or whatever, like literally fuzzy stuff, playing brutal technical metal, but it feels like The Thing. Maybe The Thing.
The Thing, yeah.
Yeah, it felt creepy.
And it's cool,
like,
it's different.
Like Arctic, like stuck in the Arctic.
I think they're from like New York or somewhere like that.
They must have went way up north to do it. It just looks and feels so just creepy to me, even though it's bright white snow.
And I miss those themed videos because I remember I've seen videos that are themed from Evil Dead. They're literally, they went and found a cabin and deer heads and got a Necronomicon that they made. And they go through the motions and do that. Or Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason.
Yeah.
I miss the band's creativity of music videos of doing that, of simply, let's go out to the snow, put on some furry parkers, let's get a couple huskies, and let's make a theme.
Yeah,
fucking tribute video.
Yeah,
whether they did or didn't on purpose, that's, did it on purpose or not, that's still awesome.
You mean like Dawkins' Dream Warriors video?
I don't know if I've seen that one or I can't remember.
The one they did for Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors.
Oh yeah.
Well, going back to where I was going with all this is I'm noticing the production companies, be it video, full movie stuff, they're starting to merchandise themselves almost like record labels did. Mm-hmm. Like, we've done stuff for Hey Beautiful Jerk, which has done a lot of Adult Swim stuff. They did a Mastodon video with, like, it was like a puppet cat in it. Like,
Video Raheem worked on part of that as well. He collaborated on that with them.
Yeah, and then...
I think he directed it.
Yeah, they've done a bunch of other stuff, a lot of Run the Jewels videos and stuff like that. But the Run the Jewels videos, and I really like that aesthetic of, like, RGB projector, like, kind of like just...
Video mapping and stuff.
Yeah, it's just it has a feel, a true vintage feel to it. Like, not like, it doesn't feel like digitally affected. It feels like they're doing something in that authentic to it, or really know what they're doing with the effects. Right. Make it feel that way, but it makes you feel a certain way. It's kind of like nostalgia, but you don't know where this is coming from.
There's a new artist that I've just recently discovered, and he's not new, I should say. He's new to me. Pop, electronic stuff, Oliver Tree. He's got a bowl cut like we had in 1992, 93. He's got a weird grill. He wears this pink parka. His clothes, everything looks like he's straight out of 1994.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
His music's extremely hooky. But he directs all the videos, and they're so 90s and done so well, so big budget, but once again, you can tell when you look at it, it's done smart in the sense of what it costs nowadays versus what it used to cost.
Right.
It's all up here now. I can, if I have the ideas, getting the cameras, getting the crew, recording this isn't what it used to be.
Right.
But having the idea to frame these shots up this way, to get these pieces, to film it here, whatever.
Right.
Really exciting seeing that because that's coming out of the pop world, which there's, what rolls the markets, and that's what's gotten mundane and really just a bag of puke for such a long time. You're really going through the motions. It gave me really high hopes to see that. Look up some of his videos if you get a chance. Oliver Tree, they're obscenely odd.
Yeah,
there's no way to explain it other, and his music is too. But then it's so refreshingly nostalgic of the '90s and stuff. What you doing, Brent?
Going back to when I was telling you that I would go speak at some of these marketing events, I would purposely go out there maybe a day before I spoke, just to be around the scene. There's a lot of fun. By the way, marketing events, it sounds like weird. You're having to entertain the entertainer, the people who are their job within the company is to make a company grab people's attention.
Right.
So you got to grab those people's attention. Like weird stuff like they had John Cena do the John Cena meme thing where he busted the wall, live. They were he was talking about that, all of a sudden, boom, John Cena, they paid him like $5,000 probably or something to literally bust the wall and run through high five people, get in his limo and leave. And I was just like, they had Deepak Chopra speaking one of the nights. it was just anything. You'd be like, so I'm sitting up here in Boston watching Deepak Chopra right now. This is in, like, Caitlin's like, I thought you were at, my wife's like, I thought you were at a marketing event. I'm like, I am.
I am.
Learning from Deepak.
It's Deepak.
But what I would do there is, so they have these cool like Instagram thing where all the people are taking pictures of Instagram up there. King of Pops is up there actually, showing they're coming out with a marketing platform around their popsicle stuff to help. There's a whole thing around that that's going to be coming out.
Oh, exciting!
Probably shouldn't be leaking the news. No, but I filmed. So I showed something that I had filmed. I showed there a day early, and I filmed people having a good time. And I did the voiceover on it and everything. So during my presentation, I played it, and it's 30 seconds long or whatever. And it was just made you feel kind of warm and fuzzy. It was like going by that feeling. And what was weird is these people from like GE and all these big companies were watching. I like showed them. I was walking around with my cell phone. I did all on the iPhone, every bit of it. I edited it. Everything was done on the iPhone, and I displayed it for everybody to see. And this guy came up to me after. He was like, we spend a ridiculous amount of money on filming and stuff like that. And he's like, how did you do that?
To try to achieve that, and yeah.
And I said, it's just, well, I know from doing my own business and stuff, I know really how to create, how you have to create, going back to when we would make flyers the best way we could.
Right.
Make a copy and make a copy of that copy. And
it goes back to that, when you have no choice,
yeah,
you'll be amazed at what you figure out and how you learn how to succeed.
Yep. And, well, sometimes I would shoot some footage at somewhere and be like, okay, on Monday when I get back to the work, I'm going to edit this, but it'd be eating in my head like on a Saturday. So I'd just go to the coffee shop and I would edit it all on my phone and just go and just get it done.
Right.
And it looked great. And I'm like, I'm really happy with this. That I also pull it off on my phone. So I go and speak to these people about creators. When you give people, don't worry about the tools as much. I mean, tools can make it better and better and better. No problem. But if you're not good with
ideas,
yeah,
and seeing it, exactly. That's what I tell people constantly with everything is the money's really the easy part. You need to have some creative people involved to get the jobs done at the end of the day. The goods, because you can go through the motions, like we were talking about, and you can complete a job. Everybody's going to be bored at the end, and it's going to look great and everything's cool, but it's not going to have that pop that you're looking for. You need that creativity.
And I learned in the music scene, too. Think about it. There's plenty of times where a band would come up on stage and they have, like, double stack, whatever, the most immaculate equipment. It was to your point where, like, this is going to be awesome. And they play and you're like, respectfully, you're like, wow, what happened?
Yeah.
They bought a bunch of cool equipment and that's about where it went. But then you see another band come up with like combo amps and like whatever,
and just then they rock it.
And they destroy, and they it's like, fine, get them better and better equipment. And I think that's the problem with people that realize about their own business, that having the bartenders, if they have time, just shooting stories, goofing off, talking to each other and talking to the customers and whatnot, and just constantly just putting out posts of like what it's like hanging out there.
Right.
And just showing off culture and just like that. There's very few times that someone can be like, yeah, I mean, somebody like, oh, did you hear the bar down the street's doing on Tuesday taco night? This really awesome taco. And be like, that sounds good. I'd eat that. But if you're following that bar, it's popping up on all your social media that cool people are down there having a blast, and you're like, man, I want to go down. I just want to go be around good people, especially nowadays when everything pops back open.
Oh, it's going to be a free-for-all, man.
Dude, people need to be showing, like, this is where the party's at, because I'm going to tell you right now, coming to Atlanta, being around down here versus Marietta, two different worlds right now.
Oh, no, yeah. Whenever I get outside of the city, I see the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's friends who come up from Atlanta that are like, I mean, like, almost like, what are these people doing up here? And I'm like, they continued on. I mean, you can have all your feelings and whatever about it, but they're all
just going on about their thing. Going on doing their thing.
Like, oh man, I got to tell you something that happened. The first night, McCracken's on the square. That's a bar there.
I'm familiar. Yeah.
So they do.
I've been thrown out.
That's awesome. They have an awesome back porch area, right? We always hang out, and that's okay. That's most comfortable. Let's go. It's somewhere outside. Let's go hang out there. And I'm like, first night back open after all this, we're out there hanging out, and it's like having a good time. It feels weird, like we're allowed to do this,
Yeah.
But I was so happy seeing people being happy again. And I know that, whatever, but there's this group of girls sitting next to us, and they're like, almost virtuing like, I've made sure that I've worn my mask this many times, and even if I go here, blah, blah, well, I've made sure I did this, and they're one-upping each other on like whatever, so they get another round of drinks. By 1 a.m., they're giving dudes lap dances everywhere. It's just all goes out the
No mask, lap dances. Yeah, exactly.
So we call them quarantinas.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I think that one can stick. My only deal is, though, like you said, whenever everything comes back to normal, I am suspect that we will get back to normal, but I don't think it's there. I think it's going to be so gradual that it's not going to be remotely okay, cool, we're back to normal, or you can make plans for it, I guess you could say. I think it's just going to be one of those things a year from now, a year and a half from now, you kind of look up and realize, okay, yeah, we're back to normal. Mask mandates have finally came off. I'm at the Braves game, and I'm looking around and realizing that the place is full. I've also attended these other events that it didn't seem like people were purposefully because there's X amount of the population that they don't give a damn what kind of vaccines you get going, what kind of things. I'm not going until I feel safe.
Right.
Which is, to me and tons of other promoters and people that do larger events, are kind of like, that's the one thing. It's like, yes, they might open the gates and tell everybody to go, but people can still make their own decisions, and it doesn't take too large of a percentage of a concert crowd to not show up to make it not worth doing at all.
Yeah, and it's weird. It's like everybody has their different feelings, and that's the hard thing about it. It's almost like, I don't want to compare it to a religious thing. Political, religious, it's weird.
It is weird because it got political.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's the way somebody feels, believes, whatever, and it's like, I think it's respectful to consider that.
Yeah.
And just be like, but if I personally don't like it when people just like pushing beliefs on each other that like, they want to hurt each other's feelings, or argue over what's right and what's wrong right now when no one knows what.
Nobody has a crystal ball. That's the one thing I keep going back to.
But the problem is the safest thing to do is to never ever go outside ever again.
Yeah, but that's not going to work for us very long either.
And the point I was telling you about the cracks, the reason I think I've seen it multiple times, that once the justifications start popping in, I have a little alcohol on top of that too. Yeah. And it starts to break down, and you're like, especially if people's got the vaccine. I actually heard a girl the other day, this guy and girl who came out to hang out with us, and they were like, we weren't going to come hang out with people, tonight, even though it was outside and, everybody's, whatever. But, we like know everybody's here. I'm like, what is knowing? What
does knowing have to do with
it? I know
anything?
you, like, this is not a venereal disease we're talking about here. It's like, I don't, I guess you don't know if you would carry it, have it, whatever.
That's the whole point, is like, everybody here, yes, you're my friend, I trust you, so I trust that if you had it, you would stay home, or you would tell me. But I know you doesn't mean that you didn't just go grab gas at the gas station, grab that handle and get it, and now you don't know it, and you just brought it to me and my girlfriend, and I'm going to give it to my father and his girlfriend, it's a weird one, and we've tried to take it, be safe with it. My girlfriend got it. She kicked her butt for about a week or so. We had to stay away from each other, sliding meals under the floor, under the door kind of deal.
Oh, yeah.
And luckily, even me being in the same household, I tested 2 or 3 times during that. Never got it. Stayed away from it. But myself and Matt think that did you test? You do have the antibodies? Yeah, so he's already had it before. And he thinks he got it back in January or March last year, before it all really went down, had already.
Yeah.
And I'm a type of person, knock on wood, that I'll get sick once a year, maybe.
Yeah, I haven't been, besides like the pollen sniffles or something like that, weather change, barely, I just for the day, I have not, since I was 18 years old, for all being banned, being sleeping in gross places.
That's what I've always
built up my antibodies.
That's exactly what I've always said, dude. Growing up a country boy, eating mud, and then going on tour in a van, and
I just
doing the stuff we've had to live in.
Knock on wood, I just haven't really been sick. I mean, the only time I've like puked or something is probably self-caused.
Much time as I spent walking around barefooted at the old masquerade, and passed out, laying on the floor of the Claremont.
Yeah.
I've been in some spots that my immune system's had to go into overdrive quite a few times.
Yeah.
So.
And I even went through the whole, like, I think I had one because there was this one, I mean, this is before the COVID thing happened. Definitely, like you were saying, like, before, you know, I had this one day where I just crashed. Like, I'm talking crashed. And, like, I was like, I got to go to sleep. It was like 3 p.m. Everybody's going down to the pool or a place to hang out. I'm like,
right.
Whatever, this is, you know.
Something's whooping to me right now.
Yeah, I got to go crash. And then I slept for, like, 27 hours straight.
Oh.
Like, it was crazy. Like, I'd get up and be, like, dizzy, about to fall over. Go to the bathroom, make it to the bathroom and back, and then fall back asleep. Didn't like eat or drink. I was like, I wonder if I had it. And when I had the antibody test a couple times, I was like, I know it's going to say I have it. Nope, unless that's wrong or something.
Right. Well, there's always a chance it could be, but it was just such a weird thing for us and our generations who never had to deal with this. You know, we thought we did with like H1N1 or what it was called back about 10, 15 years ago. But to see something like this come on this big and really shut down and affect the economy and the country and the world, it's weird. And I'm glad to see everything coming back. I'm glad to see that most people seem to have using common sense.
But there's this really interesting, you know, there's these, actually I know for a fact some kids out in California that I just noticed because looking at one of my niece's Instagrams, you know, I feel like an old guy being like, what are you doing? You know, like spying on your but anyways, going to show, like literally fire pit, band playing, like, you know, in a storage unit area. Maybe that's where the band practices or something,
right.
Maybe or something. But literally just kids just sitting down drinking, like having a good time. And it's like they're going to be punks out there. They're going to have a good time. Mm-hmm. It's just what it is. And it's like, you know, I don't know. But I think you're going to hear some good music come out of all this. I think you're gonna
that's what we on numerous podcasts we've already had and other guests we've talked about that during the downtime. The people that are the cream that's going to rise to the top out of this pandemic, and the people that have been home creating and doing stuff, we're going to have to push aside. There's going to be a lot of dog shit that comes out of this too. There's just no way. That's the two-sided coin of this thing. Equipment being cheaper and readily that means the people that have no business making shit are making it too.
Yeah.
But those creative people that have taken this time, utilized it well, I am really excited to see more and more projects. Right here next to us, here where we're at in the studio next door, Prime Mover just released an album. One next to them is Voltage Head. They're getting ready to release an album. Mastodon's downstairs recording as we speak. So just in this here in Ember City, there's so much creativity going on and people releasing stuff and new stuff coming to the table. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I think the best stuff about that is not, I don't want people to think we're saying that like, oh, we're going to hear a bunch of COVID-19 songs. No, I think it's people get maybe existential. They get inward. They it's time to.
Yeah, I mean, you might see some of that. I think it's just a matter of hopefully people just, when they couldn't go to work and all that time that you finally have now, utilize it and create something. It was just that simple.
Especially if someone's already, say, frustrated about some subject matter or passionate about the other, whatever, you throw this pressure on top of it and give it a little boiling pot and some time.
A little more pressure and you might get a diamond.
Yeah. And it's just, I think that's what's going to be cool is seeing what comes out of all that, you know. I know for us, I remember when it all happened, every company, whoever you are, there's this level of, I remember it was March 13th when the NBA said that, you know, that was like, I think that was a catalyst. At least
March 13th was the day the show that I was working on currently sent everybody home. They brought everybody in. The producers came in and were like, hey, guys. And our producer on that particular show, the guy was in his early 70s, and he even teared up a little bit. And he's like, I've never in my life had a show or anything I've been a part have to shut down like this. I don't know what we're about to be facing. So
yeah, and so that all went down, and I thought, I was just thinking, and I was talking to my dad about it all, and with his doing what he did. My dad does missile defense stuff, so anybody, you know, it could be Norway, where all the radars he works on, like somebody were shooting a nuclear missile at us. It's like old school Atari, missile command, boom, they knock it out.
Right.
So that's what he is involved with, doing that stuff. But he's been all over the place, and he was just like, well, you know, in Asian countries, you have people wearing face covers as all the time.
Yeah, that's been it for years, for air quality, for germs, all kind of stuff.
If anything, it's actually totally different than what we perceive it as. It's like, hey guys, I'm not sick, but I might have been around somebody who was. So I'm wearing this right now, just letting everybody know. Like,
Just be really polite and courteous of
there's
others.
this level of like, hey man, that guy's pretty awesome. He's wearing. Not, I don't think they think of it that much, but it's like you understand what that means.
Right.
But there's no bad feeling. There's no.
Right.
No, the government made me do this. It's way more of a social issue, which I think it totally is right now too. If you notice, like, everybody will say, "Oh, there's not a law about that," and whatever. Yeah, but there's.
So my whole deal is about being courteous for people. Cause I still maintain that I'm not worried about myself particularly because I've had such a good running immune system. I'm not a sickly type. I'm a motivated type. But they say you can have it, not know it. I have an older, my father's still alive, and I have other older friends and people that I go around, and I don't want to give it to them. It's as simple as that. I don't want to accidentally give it to any person who is going to have a bad time with it if they get it. I definitely don't want to be the person who gets it and then I got it and I'm fine. No big deal. Sorry you died.
Yeah.
That's...
Well, and you see all everybody call them the Karen videos which are really entertaining to watch. Actually, there's some cathartic thing there. I don't know, but seeing them they break down to the point where they just start coughing on the people, and I'm just I'm like, I can't believe this is real. It's like it's just so it's really cringe.
Well, that's just part of, I think, it's the world we're living in now, where I think just consequences haven't been given out quite as hard as they were in the last 15, 20 years as they were when we were children, I think, and it just leads into other things, and just it
goes back to, first of all, Costco's not trying to take away your freedoms. They're not a government. They're a private property that you're walking into. Yeah. They say, hey, common courtesy here, do this. And if you'd like to be a part of it.
Well, it's just they don't, people, my biggest thing, what I say is people that aren't facilitators will a lot of times be the ones that create the biggest problems because they don't understand that, okay, sorry, we're going to make you wear a mask, but if John, our front house manager, gets this, then we have to shut the whole store down. We have to clean the whole place. These 45 other people that work here have to go home and don't get paid for the day.
And where are you going to get your $4.99 chickens from?
And all I want you to do is wear a fucking mask, bro.
Yeah.
And you're making it all about this other, and I get it. You've never facilitated. You don't understand that this domino falls into that one and that one and that one and you can't see 27 dominoes ahead.
Yeah, and being it goes back to that thing we talked about freeing people from concern. It's like, am I here to do the opposite of that? I don't want to. People need to be chill. There's too much going on. I can wear.
It's not that big a deal. Yeah. And I get it. I hate it. At work, I have to wear a mask and goggles. And when you're doing,
no one loves to wear them. People
I'm slinging around a saw on the show I'm on now. I'm a greens guy on a show, cutting down trees in the woods and slinging machetes with fogged up goggles on.
Yeah.
You know how fun it is to hold out something and sling a machete with fogged up goggles on?
That'll take your arm off.
I'm looking over at the camera guys, our camera A operator. I'm looking over there, hey man, you good? He looks at me. His goggles are just fogged completely. And he's like, this don't work, bro. This don't work. I'm supposed to be filming this show and I can... So I get the people ready to be over with, but it just goes back to...
Well, talking to my dad about all this going back to is I saw that all this coming with the phase coverage, from day one. Mm-hmm. So I started calling Costa Rica. I brought in 40,000 masks from Costa Rica immediately. I bought attachments for the printing presses. But I had this idea I'd go to tattoo ink companies, massage oil companies, shampoo companies for salons. Not the salons, not the tattoo shops, not the servers, not the ground. Because they're the ones that are like, what the hell do we do now?
Right.
What happened was from the people that we work with, I learned very quickly that people started freezing their social media campaign ads. In other words, they all had money the whole time.
But everybody started locking up that marketing
They were
budgets.
Because they didn't know what to do. It was almost like a directional thing. So all I have to do is figure out something that works. And so you go to these bigger companies that have these, that give the products to those salons and to the tattoo shops and say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to print your logo, your ink, whatever logo, on as many of these face covers you want, and let's get them to your tattoo shops. Don't be a celebrity that says we're all in this together and blah, blah, blah. Give people things that...
Show them that you care some shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah, give them something relevant right now that can help them when it opens up, so people can come and get a tattoo, and no one's shamed. Like, you don't have a face mask, get out of here, kind of talk.
Right.
No.
Here.
Hey,
Stay here. Thank you. You got to wear this.
Whatever
bro.
company did this, Pert Plus made you this nice.
Yeah.
I don't think salons use Pert Plus, but my grandma sure does.
Use some Head and Shoulders.
But yeah, so they love that because it's a great PR thing for them. They it made them feel good there. But again, they have a promotional item that works. It's not like a pin that somebody gives you at a trade show.
And right now, something that they're going to use.
Yeah,
they're going to use it.
Is relevant to what's going on, and it was great. So what happened was they came. Some of these people came back and said, "Okay, cool. We want those. We want to do that. Order way more than we originally talked." And they gave me all the addresses to fulfill. And send the product. They didn't want to send it to them.
And then send again. So
yeah.
So then you get the tattoo shops or then to say, we want some with our logo as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this whole thing, we pivoted that way. And I just said, I kept the cost to the place where we still need to pay everybody, really prepare to get new equipment. So when this all rock and roll flips around, we can keep printing awesome merch, get more, expand during this whole time.
Right.
So I really aimed at, and we were able to work all the time. There was no worry about, we were providing products to help what was going on. So yeah, we only had a little bit of a shutdown for like a week and a half, so I could figure out what to do.
Right.
I had to buy special attachments for the machines to take.
Like you change them out for hats, tank tops, different
to make it compatible with machines, and then once that took off, it was crazy. This year's been. My personality is I get in very much I work best under pressure.
Yeah.
I'm least happy when honestly things are not happy. Yeah, I'm least happy and productive when I feel like the orders are just pouring in.
All right.
I don't know why. Maybe I just need personally. I'm just the kind of person that loves that.
You need the journey. You need the hurdles. You need the task of something. Figure out something. Let's move to the next thing.
It's very fulfilling to be like, oh man, I was invited to be on other podcasts too in the printing industry. Right. But half of them are in this woe is me kind of
this tough times are tough. How are we going to get out of it? What type of?
Yeah, and it's just like, I know that's real though, but I get that. But I'm just I just wanted to, communicate more to people about the creativity. This is when the marketing teams have to step it up, because your voice is being heard on top of all this, but it's not lame and not annoying, and you have something to say that helps people right now. It's very important. But people can do it their own way. Venues could be showing old videos of their bands playing back then. You remember the good old day kind of videos? Fine, play with nostalgia all day long and show old videos of people playing. That way you're relevant in front of in their social media, and the people are enjoying what they're seeing and they get it. Can't go to a show right now, but can't wait till that happens. And then you build up this explosion of one day we're going to get to do this.
One day it's coming.
And then it's all a long play, a long plan based on, guess what, guys? Full schedule is about to be released for Masquerade or wherever, And all of a sudden people are going to be like, I can't wait to see it. Almost like they can't wait to hear the festival lineup.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They know it's coming. Then
you should be creating that feeling.
That pump. That anticipation.
Don't even promise a date because you don't know, right? So whatever. Just do nothing but pump people up and make people feel good and with nostalgia or whatever you got to do. That's what I would do if I was.
With that being said, is there anything new with Terminus Tees that you're pumping that you're looking forward in the future that's coming around?
Yeah, we so really monumental thing happened this year. It's been a big year change, everything like that. But I ended up it was a good thing. This is a totally peaceful thing. I bought my partner out. I own Terminus 100% now. Cool. So my partner was a good 25 years older than me. He was actually the guy who would make the Terminus 710 split shirts back in the day. Ah, okay. So when 710 stopped, I went to him and I was like, man,
let's start a company.
Yeah, start a company. I'm really good at the marketing and sales things. You know how to print awesome shirts. And he wanted to also learn how to do the more new school
techniques and different things like that.
It's just like equipment, really, and chemistry too. But he was so good at the basics stuff. He was able to, we grew it by learning, how to do that. Anyways, so it was a great exit for him to be able to, you kind of retire, I guess,
Yeah.
in a way, but because I don't know, it's just a perfect opportunity for that to happen. And then building up our digital side of the company like crazy right now because it's getting better and better. Just like any digital thing, every year it gets better and better. So we have a new web store system, like a Terminus store system. So I sold Store Frontier. There was a thing I helped create a while ago, but I just wanted everything. I knew from a branding standpoint that the amount of money and attention I was doing by promoting multi
Places. Yeah.
I was like, I just want it to be Terminus, like Terminus blank, as long as that Terminus is in front of it.
Right.
Terminus Tees, Tease, perfect. We'll do
Right.
that.
As long as it's Terminus, what it is.
Yeah, and we can throw whatever after that.
You can get the brand alignment a little better there.
Yeah, actually, we have a bunch of shirts like oh, you remember the big chicken shirt we talked about? Well, did you see the one that is the birth of the big chicken where it has like Colonel Sanders pouring the gravy on the egg and it's glowing?
I don't know that I've seen that one.
Oh man, he's like pouring and it says Terminus Tees and Biolaboratories.
Oh, so, no, yes, I did see
Yeah.
that one. I'm remembering that now.
So, and then we have the third one that came out with Colonel Sanders like strapped up like the old King Kong girl, and then all the peach dudes are like have a big vat of gravy and they're worshiping and like
Oh, shit.
doing like creepy monk like kind of stuff, and then in the distance you see the shadows of the big
Chicken
I
coming.
think there's 2 or 3 of them coming. Like there's more.
Oh, okay.
So it's like Kong coming to.
That's awesome.
So-
I've not seen that one.
So I go back to all the movies. I don't know. I'm playing.
Yeah, no, as long as you're having fun, it shows, and that's the good stuff, man. That's where the goods are at.
Yeah.
Well, shit, man. In the spirit of having fun, this has been fun.
Yeah, man. I love having the just talk and just go with the flow.
That's it. Just go
It's
with
the
the
best
flow. I want to thank you again, John, for coming up. Y'all check him out, terminustees.com. What's where else socials can they check you guys out?
They're everywhere. You can just go to any of those places.
Is it all just Terminus Tees?
Yeah, but we're about to get into weird social stuff. Like I'm telling you, we're about to open a Bumble for our mascot.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're about to get a Tinder for him too. And
okay.
Like I bought an electric vehicle. I love it, but I went on the app. I had to put a charger in my work because I can't put one where I live in the Brummie. There's
nowhere to hook that up.
So I'm at work all the time, so I just plug it in there when I'm there, and it's totally good. I went on the app that shows where all the chargers are, and off our exit is like Kroger and Terminus Tees. So that made me think we need to be present in the most unexpected places, but do it the right way. I'm not going to put me or production manager Brad on Tinder,
Right, yeah.
But what's more jarring than flipping through whoever, and then all of a sudden, boom, this fuzzy peach guy.
What's his name?
Fuzz.
Fuzz? Okay. Yeah. I mean, he's been out to Slaughter Q and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I love that idea.
Did you see the puppet we had made too?
No, I haven't seen him
Jim
yet.
Henson, the guy who works at Jim Henson, actually was like, I want an actual Muppet made of him, authentic.
Oh, fucking A. I'll have to check
It's
him out.
crazy. He's got posable eyebrows, so he'd be happy, whatever. The quality. I mean, and again, it was a nice penny to pay for that. But I had a movie prop guy build Fuzz, and the hands that are
Right, yeah. They're
creepy.
Yeah.
But all that, where I get those feelings from is old Primus artwork. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? There's an old Land of Confusion video or whatever by Genesis or whatever with the puppets. You know what I'm talking about? With the creepy Ronald Reagan puppets and stuff in the 80s.
Well, just all their stuff is so round and bulbous and cartoonish.
Well, it's not CG. It's all practical effect or puppetry and stuff. So I guess is the last thing we'll talk about there. But it goes back to I wanted to feel that. I wanted people to look at him and almost feel he's a cool character, kind of a little creeped out. And not many people would say I want people to feel creepy when they look at my brand. But I want people to feel like I don't know how I feel right now.
And that creates that memorable, that part of why you're remembering it.
Yeah.
It's like the Primus, I think it's the Winona Has a Big Brown Beaver video
Yeah.
with their cowboys
Yeah.
and they look like toys.
Yeah.
That's the coolest, scariest shit I've ever seen,
But I
man.
grew up on Pee Wee's Playhouse and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And there was something creepy about all that. Large Marge in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. It scared the heck. It was probably the first time I remember getting scared. Besides E.T., which same thing, a puppet like it looks lifelike, but it's not, and it's screaming, and this is weird. What's happening?
He was in that damn creek.
Yep.
Well, all right. I am going to wrap this. I have got to piss like a racehorse, folks. John?
Yeah, and I'll say if anybody else does this, if you're in a business or anything like that, if you have any ideas, I would love to hash things out. You know,
I can't say that. Yeah, that's true. If you got an idea and want to do something cool, Terminus Tees is your place, and John is the man for collaboration.
Even if somebody's not even into like doing T-shirts right now, that's not what we want to do. If there's someone's like, man, I want to do something creative, memorable, and this is my recipe I have at my fingertips right now. I love that stuff. So it's even if just like hearing the story of that person, and if they want to hear some input that I have on it, I'll help anybody. I love helping people. I help so many people all the time.
Just helping me for years. I know that's.
Dude, that's what I wanted to do. I just want to help people grow and not worry about Terminus. I think Terminus keeps growing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, right on, folks. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch y'all again next time. Cheers.
Yep. Yeah, that's fun. I just like it because it's good way to say something.